So this A16 11th gen iPad launched earlier this year, and it is absolutely capable of doing all kinds of productivity work. This iPad is great for students, professionals, and anyone else who wants to get work done on a device that's compact, very portable, and very affordable. This iPad comes in at $349 regular price, and that's already a steal for a brand new iPad, but it's Christmas time right now, and you can get this thing for even cheaper, under $300 at a lot of places. But a lot of people ask, yeah, but can you actually do real work on this thing? I mean, is this going to work out if I go to college? Is this going to be good if I take it to work with me? Is this going to be a good iPad if I take it on a business trip? And the answer is yeah. Absolutely. Hey everyone, Tech Dad here, and I've been using my A16 iPad for over 8 months. I got it the week that it launched, and I'm a project manager during my day job, and I'm a teacher at nighttime, and so I use this in all kinds of productivity and professional work. So I really use it a lot in the classroom, and I use it for my lesson plans, and I use it as my whiteboard to teach from. It's absolutely compatible with Microsoft Office, it works with Google Docs, and it's got the new iPadOS 26, which launched this year and gave it a whole heck of a lot of multitasking abilities and better file management. I mean, it's a pretty darn good package for this price point. But with all that being said, there are a few drawbacks to buying this base model. There's just a few things that it can't do well, or if you want it to do better, you're going to have to pay more money. And so in this video, I want to give some real life examples of how I use my A16 iPad in productivity scenarios. I want to give you some real world examples so that you can actually see, yeah, I'll be darned, you can do real work on this thing. And then at the end of this video, I want to talk about those drawbacks that might encourage you to bump up to a more expensive model if you need those features. All right, let's get into it. Like I said, I am a teacher, and I'm a social studies teacher specifically, and so let's say I'm going to design a lesson plan around the Vietnam War, or I'm a student who is researching the Vietnam War. So I can jump on my A16 iPad, and what's great about the iPad now is that you can open multiple windows, up to 12 windows on the screen actually. And so you can use the stoplight buttons to position those windows, or you can even open slide over with one of your windows and move that window on and off the screen. So maybe I want to open ChatGPT and start doing some research about the Vietnam War. I can do that, and then I can put the window away when I don't want to use it and I want to grab another app. For example, maybe I want to take some handwritten notes, and this is where the iPad really shines, because you can't take handwritten notes on a Mac. And so this is powerful for both students and teachers. So let's say I want to pull up a notes app. I can make some lines appear so it looks like a real piece of paper, and then I can set the windows up so I can take my notes while I look at my ChatGPT text. This iPad is awesome for multitasking. You can absolutely look at more than one window at a time, and you can even write in one app while you're scrolling in another app. That's pretty darn awesome. You can also manage files really easily, so since you can open multiple windows, you can drag and drop files. You can even drag and drop images from the web into a certain folder. You can organize Microsoft Word files and PowerPoints all in the same folder, no problem. And what's really great about the A16 iPad is not only is it compatible with Apple Pencil USB-C, but it has a lovely keyboard that you can buy. And you can get the one from Apple, or you can get a cheaper one on Amazon, whatever's good for your budget. But with iPadOS 26, you actually get a real cursor now, so it looks like you're actually working on a real computer. And so you have full keyboard functionality to just type away. I don't feel like this keyboard is cramped at all. They've actually done a really good job with making an iPad keyboard that's comfortable to type on. All right, so now that I've taken some handwritten notes and I've got an idea about what I want to write about in a research paper, I can absolutely pull up Microsoft Word and start typing away. And so you've got a pretty darn good app for a mobile version of Microsoft Word. I think it's got more than enough power for students. You could do pretty much all the normal things in Microsoft Word that you can do on a computer. So you can see here I've made a nice title for my research paper, I've made a heading, and then I can type away in the body. And having a keyboard really helps with that, but you can absolutely use the digital keyboard if you don't want to buy a physical one. Although for students and professionals, I'd really recommend it if you're going to do a lot of typing. All right, so I've got my Microsoft Word document going, but I can also make a PowerPoint presentation. And so you do have PowerPoint on the iPad, and if you're a student, you'll normally get this subscription covered by a college. So if you're at a university setting, they will allow you login credentials so you don't have to pay for the Microsoft subscription. So I can start to type away in my Microsoft PowerPoint presentation. I can drag files into the presentation, such as photos that I have saved. And I love that PowerPoint gives you some little suggestions on how to make your presentation look professional, so you can select those as well. And it's pretty easy to use and very, very similar to a computer, especially when you connect a keyboard and trackpad. Now, let's talk about some of those drawbacks to this A16 base iPad. So the first thing is storage space. So remember, if you pay that $280 or $300 price point, you're only getting 128 gigs of storage space. And that's actually plenty plenty for documents, especially if you use cloud storage. You're not even going to notice that on the iPad because it's not storing those files on the iPad. But if you're going to do some hefty video editing, or you're going to store a lot of photos on your iPad, if you're going to do a lot of graphic design, 128 gigs of storage might not be enough. And so I've got the 128 gigs of storage on this guy, and it's almost full just from photos, videos, and some video games I've got installed on this thing. So just consider storage space when you're purchasing your iPad. You might want to bump up to 256 if you're going to be storing a lot of big files on this thing. All right, the second thing about this iPad is that there's no secondary display support. And so the iPad Air and Pro can connect to a secondary display, and you can actually have a second monitor. Well, you can connect this guy to a monitor, but it's just going to mirror what's on the iPad screen. And so this is actually nice if you just need to see things a little bit better. If you want a larger screen, you can do that. But it doesn't fill the whole screen. There are those black bars on the side, and you can't adjust that. This base iPad does not support that. And you can't use that monitor as a second display. You only get the mirroring option. And so if you really want to crank out productivity and you want a second monitor, like a second display support, this is not going to do it. You're going to need an iPad Air or Pro. The third drawback to this guy is that it does not support Apple Intelligence, so it has the A16 chip in it. But honestly, I don't know that I'd call that a drawback. So Apple Intelligence is not that good. You're going to find other AI programs that are better and are totally supported on this iPad, such as ChatGPT, like we used at the beginning of this video. It works just fine on this iPad. So even though you don't have Apple Intelligence, there's better AI out there, and you can absolutely get access to it on this device. So can you do real work and productivity on this iPad? Absolutely, especially the common things that most professionals and students have to do. Now, if you're getting into something like computer science or something like that, I would not recommend this iPad. In fact, I wouldn't recommend an iPad at all. So my oldest son is in computer science, and I absolutely recommended a MacBook Pro for him. He just can't get done what he needs to on this iPad. But if your software needs are pretty basic and you just need to do word processing, you need to develop slide decks, maybe manage some simple spreadsheets, oh yeah, this guy's perfect. And it's super portable, and you get all that iPad functionality as well, such as handwritten notes. And it's great for consuming content and playing mobile games on too. So you get the functionality of a simple computer and a tablet at the same time for $300. I mean, that's tough to beat, right? All right, so that's my rundown on this A16 and the power of its productivity features. Let me know if you have questions about it. I'm happy to help you out. You can leave a comment below. That's all I got for you. If you like this sort of content, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.